I normally teach outside, and so I move a lot, so I'm going to try to remember my formal classroom days and state my objectives, right? So I have three main objectives for being here today. One is to share what the Crosby Arboretum is. I've only been back in Mississippi a little over a year, and I have been surprised by the lack of awareness that Mississippi has an incredible arboretum, and that we even have this National Historic Landmark structure on the property. So that's objective number one. The other one is why green spaces like the Arboretum, and quite frankly this place too, matter. I know you guys already know why it matters, but it's good to hear it as sort of positive affirmations for us that are doing this kind of work. And then how we're using our green space, the Crosby Arboretum, to connect children in particular to the natural world, so that hopefully we create stewards of our environment. So my first slide here, I apologize for my turtle error. I will be fixing that. Thank you so much for having me here today. I am excited to talk about what I get to do every day. But first, like I said, I want to tell you a little bit about the Crosby Arboretum. So my tech friend has helped me embed a video here.
The gifts of life are the earth's, and they are given to all. Touch the earth. Love the earth. Honor the earth. To all who love her, she gives of her strength. These thoughts of naturalist and author Henry Beston remind us that those who are good stewards of natural treasures will be rewarded. And so it is and has been with this historic and bountiful slice of Mississippi landscape, occupied today by the Crosby Arboretum. As it preserves and celebrates the natural features and native wonders of its region, the Crosby Arboretum captures the qualities of this place and offers them back to us in abundance. From its headwaters in east central Mississippi, the Pearl River flows to the Gulf of Mexico, forming the boundary between Mississippi and Louisiana for the last part of its journey. Its watershed nurtures and embraces a vast spectrum of plant and animal life. From the earliest of times, the forests and the waters of the Pearl River Basin's southernmost piney woods have sheltered and sustained those who settled here. The land gave its all through good times and hard times. As resourceful, diligent people learned how to care for it, coax different crops from it, and restore it to productivity, the land returned harvest after harvest. Even in the wake of natural disaster, new life returned in its own time. Among the region's most successful, philanthropic, and forward-thinking timberland owners and forest products pioneers was L.O. Crosby, Jr. After his death in 1978, the Crosby family established the Arboretum in tribute to him. Thoughtfully and resourcefully, they involved highly respected educators, landscape architects, designers, and citizens of the region in defining the Arboretum's mission and master plan. They established a foundation to guide the development and broaden the base of support. This team of professionals and committed volunteers determined that a display of plants native to the Pearl River Basin, growing in their natural habitats, would be an exceptionally fitting memorial. From the beginning, education and pleasure, access and protection were at the heart of the Arboretum's purpose. As its primary interpretive area, they chose a site in Picayune, Mississippi, adjacent to Interstate 59, property owned by the Crosby family since the early 20th century. After meticulous evaluation, the team recommended the excavation of a pond to enhance enjoyment and ecological diversity. Site work began with the delineation of grids for long-term biological study and the layout of trails and pathways for a 64-acre native plant center. An additional 700 acres of diverse landforms and distinctive ecosystems throughout the region were identified and preserved for scientific research. The foundation engaged renowned architect Fay Jones to design a public gathering space that would be a place of beauty and meld with its woodland setting. Construction and planning began, and the Arboretum, graced by Pinecoat Pavilion, opened in 1986 to international acclaim. Since that time, the planning, the pavilion, and the programming of this remarkable place have garnered the nation's highest honors and the respect of the academic, landscape, and design world. Preserving and displaying natural wonders from the microscopic to the majestic, the Crosby Arboretum features a wondrous collection, from the insect-eating to the edible, and from spectacular specimens for backyard gardens to rare plants with medicinal properties. The ordinary and the extraordinary features attract visitors of all ages, backgrounds, interests, and incentives for exploring. They come from nearby businesses and community groups, visit on field trips from regional schools, and stop en route while traveling through the area. Generous volunteers join dedicated staff in caring for the property. Together, they educate the public about cultural and natural history, the botanical and the zoological sciences, and useful horticultural and environmental friendly ideas. In 1997, the Arboretum became a part of the Coastal Research and Extension Center of Mississippi State University. Along with other college and university students engaged in research projects, the relationship with MSU adds an exciting dimension to the original educational mission. As the Arboretum has evolved for more than a quarter of a century, perhaps the most important lessons have come from watching it change over time. The land has forgiven the necessary impact wrought by construction. Once hard edges are wrapped in gentle forms and colors. A surprise awaits around every bend in the trail. In the natural order of things, life emerges from decay. Another generation grows to maturity, sometimes under watchful eyes, and sometimes in solitude. Rare plant communities in the protected natural areas reveal far-reaching scientific discoveries in a living laboratory. Disasters like hurricanes and tornadoes create opportunities to learn about resilience, nature's and our own. Human intervention, such as controlled burning, mimics the once natural wildfires, creating nutrient-rich ash and stimulating spectacular new growth. And from it all, we learn about the interdependence of living things. With an eye toward the future, the Crosby Arboretum has acquired additional property adjacent to the interpretive site. Like the seasons, change is inevitable in institutions. Above all, the Arboretum seeks to be prepared for the lessons that lie ahead. We draw strength from these piney woods, these restorative waters, this land that has nurtured us all the while.
There we go. So this video is about 15 years old. So Crosby Arboretum will be celebrating her 40th birthday in November. And the past 15 years or so have been a struggle for the Arboretum. As a nonprofit, money is always a challenge. I'm sure you know. And so I returned to Mississippi about a year ago. I answered an ad that was on Facebook, of all things. They were looking for an education coordinator, and I should have known when they didn't give me a tour of the property that was a red flag, right? That maybe they were getting their cart ahead of their horse, because I was very excited to start building education curriculum, only to discover there was no money, no funds, no staff, no building. And so I was like, what are we doing, Mississippi State, right? Like, what do you want me to accomplish here? Having been a formal classroom teacher, I recognized early that scripted curriculum and digital learning was destroying our children, quite frankly. And if you're a teacher, you know that too. It's scary when you think about this young generation, and I hate to use this word, but they're dumber. They're dumber because they are not connected to the earth. They're not connected to the natural rhythms. They're not connected to their own biology. And so as a classroom teacher, when I was issued this scripted curriculum that had to do with the Serengeti and wildebeest to an urban population of students who had behavior problems out the wazoo, I was like, something is really broken in education. And I only remained a classroom teacher for 7 years. The last 4 of which, though, because I was older, I was brave enough to sort of buck the system. I did go back to school, and during my master's degree, I switched from clinical psychology to memory and cognition focused education. And I rewrote the scripted curriculum to include our natural world. I took my students outside, and joy returned to learning. Behavior problems greatly reduced. I didn't have to write up students and send them to the office and chase them out of my classroom because we weren't even in the classroom. We were in the parking lot running and putting a pulse oximeter on and collecting data, and they were thinking. And they were collecting Gulf Coast toads and looking at them. And instead of wildebeest, we started talking about alligators in Louisiana as keystone species. And this is something that they had observed. And so I began to realize that there's something really important about time spent in nature. And at that point, this was just because I grew up in nature, and this was a natural thing for me. And I realized these students, some of them didn't even have backyards, right? They were in low-income housing and apartment complexes, and they were just doing the best they could, and they hadn't really been exposed to nature in a friendly way. Ultimately, my students scored higher than any other science teacher for the last 4 years that I was in the classroom, and that's because of their hard work, but it was also because they learned learning could be fun. Learning should be fun. And when you take learning outside and it becomes hands-on and immersive, It is fun. The awe and the wonder of the natural world returns, and you see their faces light up. And instead of being afraid to touch that toad, they feel invited to begin to learn about other living things and then their connectedness to the natural world. So fast forward, horticulture therapy, what is this? I get asked this a lot since returning to Mississippi, and I think in this region of the United States, this type of strategy is coming. It's been around for a while, especially in the UK, and I completed my program in North Carolina. But how did I get there? Well, I got there because I went to work in a botanical garden writing site-specific curriculum from them, and Angie Mason, the director of Shangri-La Botanical Gardens in Orange, Texas, noticed that I was creating programming and soliciting different types of learners. And she said, have you ever heard of therapeutic horticulture? Well, of course I had not, like a lot of people. And so she's like, you have a natural ability to make nature accessible for very diverse populations, special needs groups, self-contained classrooms who never had taken their children to field trips before. I was like, come on out, let's get on a boat and let's talk about dragonflies today, right? And so I learned that this is a legitimate, really cool way to transform people's lives. And if you like to garden, you already know what gardening can do for you physically, mentally, healthy, right? You can grow some of your own food. And so horticulture therapy can be very data-driven, and I would like to one day take Crosby to a place where we can partner with local institutions to measure these outcomes. But for now, it's still this philosophy that runs through all the programming that I'm creating at the garden. And we are partnering with like the Roger Amos School for a Specialized Treatment Facility. They brought their students for the first time ever, and she warned me ahead of time. I don't know if you're familiar with that school, but it is a 24/7 inpatient facility that serves the entire state of Mississippi. And when she got my contact information from the Gulfport Behavioral Center, she said that you actually enjoy working with these types of troubled kids. And I said, yes, I do. And so we wrote curriculum and allowed them to come in and experience an escape room challenge where they explored our 3 different habitats. And so these are the kinds of learning experiences that we are attempting to grow at the Arboretum. And this is kind of a collage of some of the programs that we've done. I have information related to these habitat hikes because we literally are a living classroom. The entire site is on 100 square foot grids, and it's engineered to literally be a living classroom. You can take learners through these 3 distinct habitats that are not naturally occurring in such a small proximity. They can explore a wet pine savanna and talk about adaptations of organisms in that, and then literally walk across a path and be in an aquatic habitat. And we can do macroinvertebrate labs where they can literally begin to think about life in a drop of water. And it starts opening up their thinking. They can learn to use a microscope right there on the side of the pond. They can use a D-net and they can start to think about stages of other living organisms. Then they can start in making inferences about the quality of water. And it's just fun to take young learners through this process of understanding that outside is a classroom and that they are connected to it also. And so seeing this joy return to these young learners has me thinking about how can we do this? How can we partner with our local schools? How can we partner with rehabilitation centers, senior centers, and create more programming? And so since I've gotten there, I've rolled out 90 different programs in the past year and 2 months, sort of just taking a broad survey of how do we serve our community, because that is the mission of Extension also, is to taking care of what matters. That's our motto, right? And so what matters more than our children? What matters more than our loved ones? What matters more than our own health right here in our community? And so we have rolled out these habitat hikes. We've also started some summer programs. The lack of permanent facilities and structures on the grounds is a bit of a challenge, but we are making do. Scouting and night hikes, this has been a big popular thing because lack of lighting makes it where you can really see the night sky. And I think I saw a bat person come in. Please come study our bats. The bats are amazing, and we need to redo our bat houses, and I would really like some advice for that. And I'd like to turn that into a program. And I know you have a bat person here, so if you see her, please tell her, call Kathryn at the Arboretum, because I would love to partner with her to have this experience where the kids can physically build an appropriate bat structure. So we at the Arboretum are continuing to try, like this noon lecture series, we're trying different days of the week, like our third Thursday Gardener's Guide series. We're trying to stretch past our pure native plants only kind of mentality, which is great, but other plants can sometimes be, a pathway to interest, something more approachable. So our Gardener's Guide series has been pretty popular. We are continuing our botany field walks for our plant passionate people on Saturdays. We've implemented toddler time, and now we're going to connect toddler time to yoga time because moms have expressed an interest in that. They would attend more if we were able to provide kind of a toddler hour, and so that's become very popular. We're also continuing some of our adult sort of arts and crafts skill-based learning. And you can see from the faces that this is becoming a very popular thing. I think previously people thought the Arboretum was kind of research only and maybe not as warm and welcoming to families. And by opening up and doing more of these for different types of populations, including adults, the Arboretum is becoming more of a friendly place again. Green spaces. One of my objectives was, why do green spaces matter? Well, research has shown that just walking can lower your blood pressure. Breathing in, seeing trees and green space, we know that this is good for our health. It also helps children learn some self-control and self-regulation, which a lot of times I think is misdiagnosed as behavior disorders, when if we just spent some time outside and they felt getting tired again. I don't know if you were a child and you remember getting to play outside, you knew you were going to rest better that night, and it seems so basic to us now, but this newer generation of parenting where it's not normal to play outside for a variety of reasons, I think that if we would return to this, we would see improvements in behavior as well. And so it's these kinds of programs, especially with our young people and toddler time, that we're helping to kind of introduce at a very early age that nature can be fun. And our sensory garden, which is brand new, is a delight. So we've partnered also with our early Head Start program, and we're rolling out a program once a month where 3-year-olds are in our little sensory garden space and exploring touch and sound and color with plants and some arts and crafts. And so that's precious. It's literally brand new, so we don't have a lot of data to share just yet, but that's coming. And I do think that those children in particular are going to really enjoy that space and hopefully have, again, very positive experiences going forward as stewards of our natural world. I know that you have lots of opportunities for hands-on learning here too. And so I know that you see the benefits. When I saw someone the last time I was here who was walking through with an ambassador animal snake, and I saw the children rushing to interact with that snake, and that's the thing that we want to see more and more of at the Arboretum also. children excited about learning. And so that's kind of my third objective too, how we are using the Arboretum to connect children to the natural world. I hadn't really planned to fill a whole hour because I figured you were here on your lunch break too. I'd love to open it up for some questions, some suggestions. I'm constantly trying to steal all of the good ideas that I see here and in other venues across the Gulf Coast and repackage them in a way that highlights all that the Arboretum can offer. And because we kind of are a blank slate, I really do appreciate your feedback, your advice, your mentorship as we build our education program, because you have such great resources here. And I appreciate all of you that I see your faces that have come to Bugfest. You know we're going to be calling you again and begging you to help us as we continue to grow our education programming. I did bring some freebies. I have highlighted some of the programs that we're rolling out in the next couple of months. One of the programs that's part of Extension's wellness initiative is this Magnolia Moves. We're opening the Arboretum an hour early, and we literally are doing a boot camp an hour before we open for free to the community. So far, it's just been me and one person, but that's okay. It's a beginning because a lot of people are like, what do you mean? We're working out. What about mosquitoes? All kinds of interesting things. Lots of fun programs are coming up, though. We are hosting a mushroom foraging. I'm looking forward to learning more about that myself. We have a free native wildflower seed mix for swag that we just started. And so we are also looking for partnerships with researchers. And I know you guys, because you have wildlife and fisheries here, we want to highlight the work that you're doing. We want to be a venue with you. We want to highlight and show what you're doing. We want you to come out and speak and or share your research in a way that we can then repurpose into an approachable, child-friendly way and really roll that out. We did that with someone who's researching the Pinelands hibiscus, which doesn't sound very exciting if you're a child until you realize that it's kind of a cool little war that's going on with these ants and wasps. And so even that research can become really interesting exposure to the natural world for children when it's repackaged in a way that's understandable to them. And again, all these opportunities for exposing children to the awe and wonder of science and then math, which is the language of science, really does help them think in terms of future and becoming stewards of our, world, which now more than ever we need. So that's my spiel. Please reach out to me. Please come and get some free resources and share your contact information with me too, because it does help me. Being an army of one at the Crosby Arboretum, being able to partner with you and your particular area of expertise really does strengthen what we do. So thank you very much. And anybody have any questions that I might be able to answer about the Arboretum or education programming or anything at all? Please ask.
Well, I'm building now. I'm a master gardener in Madison County.
Okay.
My little pet project this year is the sensory garden at
Yes.
the library. We do the whole library garden, but I've got the raised bed. I was an invalid for a bit a few months ago, and that's all I could reach. So other than wind chimes, what can we put in there for sound? I'm struggling with some of the, not textures, that could be plants.
Yes.
Sight is all the colors.
Right.
I've got a fairy garden in there they can play with.
Oh, fun. Were you able to add any kind of water feature for water, sound, and touch?
The water I'm going to have to ask about, other than a recording of it right now, because anybody can go back there at any time. It's not gated off or anything.
Yeah.
I
Have to be careful.
around them too.
Right. Yeah, you have to be careful with. There's some really interesting non-native seeds that make like seed head poppies and things that makes some sound. I will ask my director, because she is a native plant expert in terms of sound related native seeds, because I'm still learning. It's going to take me a long time to really learn all there is to know about our native plant database that we have on the site. So my goal, I try to learn about 20 a week, and I have a long way to go.
They have windsocks, I've seen, big. They have
Yes.
whistles in them.
Oh.
So they blow, and as they do this, there is a whistling sound.
Oh, that's
So
neat.
that might be something you could.
That is
add.
neat.
And they're beautiful. They're very.
Oh, that's a great idea. I've seen like the bamboo with like little mallets and things the kids can play on things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bird sounds. That's true.
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
We share a fence with a very noisy post office, so it's hard.
I love that you're putting in a sensory garden. I love that. I love that.
There's small birdbath that you could insert into it.
That's all I put a little fountain.
But yeah, but you could get one of those solar insertions that make it bubble, and you can have the water sprinkled noises. That would be cool.
We let our littles, you might not want to do this, but we let our littles have they made mud, and we let them literally, like when we were little, like mud cakes and play in the mud. And like we disclosed that to the parents so that they, dressed appropriately. It was really delightful to watch these 3-year-olds just having fun. Like we made a mock kitchen out of cardboard, and they were literally like making mud cakes and playing with mud again. It reminded me of my childhood. Everybody that came loved it, although there were a few teachers who at first, the Head Start teachers were, a little like, what are we doing, right? Like, but it was a lot of fun, and the kids had the best day ever. It was fun to see 3-year-olds playing with mud again in our sensory garden. Open toes? Oh, I don't know what.
Oak toads.
Toad.
Oak toads.
I don't know.
Wonderful sound.
I don't know. I want to spend some time learning from you. Yeah.
I know she does. But you have other frogs.
Right.
We do have.
I have the little PVC pipe to build a little frog
Calling
tower.
right now.
That's very cool.
Valor calling right now.
Anybody have any other questions?
Could you give us an example of something you do with your special needs group?
Yes. So we do some hands-on things. We let them build a journal that they can take home. So we have some bamboo on the property, and they cut bamboo and they make a kind of journal. Sometimes, especially for some of our neurodivergent kids who are nonverbal, they will still really enjoy some tactile things. So we'll go on a hike, and they'll collect some leaves. They'll make leaf rubbings in their journals. Sometimes we'll also do some gratitude work where we think about what are you grateful for in this day or in this moment, and trying to, just talk about some feelings, because when they're in nature and not in their environment, sometimes it will open up their ability to sort of relax and maybe have some fun and reframe how they're feeling. And so some of those things are things that we do, and we allow them to make a gratitude tree and take that back to their facilities sometimes. And teachers sometimes will call me the next day and say, this changed how the entire day went for our group of kids, right? Especially if they're adolescents, because adolescence is difficult anyway, and then you add on some kind of label, right? And that kind of compounds the awkwardness of that age group. And so when they come back from those, especially the ones that are kind of like an escape room challenge, we'll divide them into random groups, and it's like friendly competition to see who gets through the habitat first and then back to home base. And then they talk about the team building that happened. They'll be like, some of the teachers are like, it's the first time that they didn't fight all day long. Or even sometimes at the end of a week, they'll say they're still talking about their experience, and friendships have formed where in these inpatient facilities, it was like every man for himself. So those are the kinds of things that I like to hear. And as a hort therapist, I would like to grow that and then collect data on that, and then have more structured consistency. And so hopefully these are kinds of things that will open up, and opportunities that will open up also. we'll see. You know, it's new. I've only been there a year, and there's a lot of positive conversations in the community where I think we were a lost opportunity before. I think that schools are beginning to see the value in this. It's not just a free-for-all, running through the woods type field day, that there's some structure and there's maps aligned, you know, structure and objectives tied to these sensory experiences. And so that's good because, you know, when teachers see the value in it, then they can advocate for all the drama that goes with getting the school bus and the permission to go, and how does this align with the high stakes testing that we do to all of our children, right? So we're getting there. We're getting there. I think that's probably our hour, but I appreciate you for letting me come here. I don't know if you can see, that is my contact information. I do have my contact information, an overview of the habitat hikes that are the field trip experiences, some flyers, some really cool pins, and seeds, and my contact information here. Please connect with me. Thank you. Thank you.